Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and guys, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to talk about the co-main event that happened on the Emmanuel Navarrete versus Baranchyk fight on ESPN. I've already talked about the Navarrete versus Baranchyk fight and the results of that. New champion for Ukraine, another new champion. Well, let's talk about the co-feature, ladies and gentlemen. What was a fight of the year contender. Was stopped in 10 rounds by Brian Norman Jr. halting Giovanni Santillan in a brutal 147-pound clash for the WBO interim welterweight title, which is currently held by pound-for-pound king Terence Bud Crawford. Well, one of the pound-for-pound kings until Usyk became undisputed champion. So it's arguably Usyk is now pound-for-pound king, but that's another topic that we're going to touch on at some point. But let's talk about the brutal Santillan versus Brian Norman Jr. slugfest, firefight. Giovanni Santillan, ladies and gentlemen, Mexican-American, El Guerrero de Oro, 32-0 coming in, 17 KOs, coming off that sensational win over Alexis Rocha, who was a top contender coming in. And Giovanni Santillan was the underdog in that fight. And he performed like an elite fighter, ladies and gentlemen, in that fight. He was hungry, motivated. He knew he was the underdog coming in. Alexis Rocha was not established, but was a known name already in the sport of boxing and in the welterweight division, stopping Blair Cobbs in a really good fight. And Santillan, man, he was ready for any top welterweight. And here comes Santillan out of nowhere. Hasn't proven yet against a top fighter, but he came in here in that fight and just outworked the hell out of Alexis Rocha. Stopped him. Cranked him up with tremendous volume of punches. Left hooks. 3, 4, 5 left hooks in a row, cranking up those hooks, cranking up those combinations on Alexis Rocha. Of course, Rocha standing his ground and fighting back, but Santillan was just on another level, man, and an engine that wasn't stopping. Santillan pressed on that gas and never stopped throwing, and he just overwhelmed Rocha, dropping him and stopping him, and became a force in the welterweight division. An interesting challenge for any top welterweight. And now he came in, now here he is coming in with that momentum against Brian Norman Jr., who's an unknown fighter compared to Santillan. So Santillan is 32-0 coming in, coming off of that impressive stoppage win over Alexis Rocha, and he's fighting the unknown Brian Norman Jr., 25-0 coming in, 19 KOs. So he's got some pop in his punches compared to Santillan. Santillan has a respectable punch, but it's not a one-punch KO. And Brian Norman Jr., what a way to make a statement in the welterweight division. You're not known compared to Santillan, and here you are coming into this fight and stepping to Santillan. Because Santillan didn't waste any time. He went straight to work on Brian Norman Jr., cranking up those combinations just like how he did against Alexis Rocha, cranking up those hooks, 5 straight left hooks, and just working the uppercuts, everything. Santillan did not came to play. He came to work. He came to war. He came to fight. And Brian Norman Jr. Was like, oh, okay, you want to go right now? Santillan, let's definitely go right now. And now this is all in the first round. And Brian came forward, hands held high, and stood right in the pocket with Santillan and trade shots. And until the end of the fight, until this fight got stopped in 10 rounds, man. But until it got, while in his journey to the 10th round where the fight got stopped, these two guys were going at a blistering pace. savage exchanges in the middle of the ring, blood all over the damn place, and Alexis Rocha all busted up with a cut over his eyes. Doesn't stop through punches. He wants that world title. He wants to be a world champion, so he wants to continue that momentum he did with Rocha and try to overwhelm Norman Jr., but Norman Jr. was not having it. 23 years old, young, strong lion with power, with punching power, standing his ground, fighting back, trading hooks, trading right hands, trading bombs, trying to discourage the then undefeated Giovanni Santillan, who is 32, who's a much older fighter, but not old, but much more experienced, taking it to Brian Norman Jr. And the thing is, this is how big this upset is. It's a big upset. Giovanni Santillan was ranked in all organizations in the welterweight division. He was ranked in the WBA, he was ranked in the WBC, he was ranked in the IBF, he was ranked in the WBO. And Norman Jr., who comes out of nowhere, likely ranked maybe top 15, comes in and stops Santillan in impressive fashion. Like I said, what a way to make a statement in the welterweight division or any division in boxing. By stopping a fighter you ain't supposed to stop. This is an upset. And when it was stopped in the 10th round, man, Santillan, on his way down, before he went down, he folded in the air. One of the most vicious stoppages in the fight. Vicious KO. He crippled Santillan on the way down. Santillan took a punch and he curved and went straight down whoa. And Brian Norman Jr., being the savage that he was during the fight, continued to be in that savage as Santillan was on the floor, was on the canvas, and Norman Jr. was just looking on with a savage look, yeah, what's up? I did that to you. Remember my name now. And even before that, Santillan got dropped. And again, Norman Jr. looking on over Santillan whoo, oh yeah. That hurt, didn't it? It was a sensational fight, a sensational win by Brian Norman Jr. And what a way to make a name for yourself and introduce yourself in the welterweight division. And the new WBO interim champion likely will be WBO welterweight champion. Because Terence Crawford, once he fights, and knocked him off at 154 for his crown. Brian Norman Jr. will be elevated to WBO champion. So this was basically for the WBO welterweight title. And Santillan came up short in a fight of the year, bloody war. And man, hats off to these two warriors. It was a tremendous fight. Crazy results, ladies and gentlemen. It's boxing, the theater of the unexpected. The famous words from the great, legendary Larry Merchant. Let me know what you guys think, man. It was a tremendous fight. One of the best fights this year so far. Brian Norman Jr. We got a new top welterweight in town, stopping Giovanni Santillan in 10 rounds in a firefight on ESPN on the co-main event of Emmanuel Navarrete versus Denis Baranchyk. Let me know what you guys think on this fight. Miracle with Boxing, guys. I am your host, so don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.